What's up, everybody? It's Young here, and welcome to an impromptu news update regarding Konami. So, I'm reading some pretty disturbing stuff right now. Some article from website Nikkei apparently broke some information in regards to some of the behind-the-scenes happenings over at Konami, and what I'm reading here is pretty disturbing. So, apparently Konami is basically treating its staff members like prisoners. So I've got a Kotaku article here pulled up, and they basically bullet pointed the basic information of the article, and I'm just going to read some of this stuff to you guys and show you guys what I mean. This is just, crazy. So, first bullet point, Kojima Productions, the studio behind the upcoming Metal Gear Solid 5 and long famous as a brand of its own, is now simply known as Number 8 Production Department. The computers in this section, Nikkei says, are allegedly not connected to the internet and are only able to send internal messages. This actually goes in line with what other websites and rumors have reported, particularly the article from GameSpot that basically broke the news. So that already is something that we knew, but still is somewhat disturbing, and it sort of disrupts work environment and communication, so this is already not good, but there's more. Nikkei reports that employees leaving the company offices during their lunch break are having their absences monitored with time cards. Those who stay out too long are having their names announced throughout the company. So basically they harass their employees by doing something like this, by publicly humiliating them for maybe being a little late, and they monitor these guys with time cards on their breaks. What the hell? Next up there are cameras in the office corridors that aren't there for security, but rather to monitor the movements of Konami's own employees. I don't know about you, but I'm getting a whole 1984 vibe here. Is that why there's so many references to that in Phantom Pain? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if that's true. I highly doubt that's true. Who knows? Maybe there's something there. But all I'm saying is this is a very dystopian thing that I'm reading here. Next bullet point. Most Konami employees do not have their own permanent company email addresses. Staff who must deal with people outside the company, such as sales and PR, do. However, everyone else routinely has their address randomized and changed every few months. And then Kotaku added a note here saying that Konami employee emails are typically a few letters followed by a string of numbers, but this random email changing has been going on at Konami for years, apparently. A while back, one Konami employee told me this was done to prevent headhunting. Over the years, I have seen developers with company email addresses, but this might have changed recently, so that's their note. So, further crippling communication is this weird system in which only certain select few people get company email addresses. How is this supposed to work? How are they supposed to communicate with their employees if they don't have their own company email address? How are the employees supposed to do their jobs without properly being able to communicate? So, yeah, there's that. Next up, Konami game developers who aren't seen as useful are reassigned to jobs as security guards, cleaning staff at the company's fitness clubs, or roles at a Pachi slot machine factory. This includes not just junior staff, but producers who have worked on well-known game titles. In 2013, Asahi News, one of Japan's largest newspapers, ran an interview with a former Konami staffer who allegedly went from game development to working in Konami's Pachi slot factory, causing him to experience severe depression. So again, more dystopian shit going on here. Basically, if an employee isn't deemed, useful or whatever that, what does that mean, useful? Like, if they're not deemed valuable or useful, what the hell does that mean? So basically, if employees are deemed not useful, again, whatever that means, they are pulled out of their jobs and they are given a job that just doesn't fit what they prosper at. Stuff like, I don't want to say that these jobs are worse or anything like that, because, there are people who have to fill in jobs like Pachi slot machine factories, and there are people who have to be on cleaning staff at Konami, and I don't want to berate people who do have those jobs by saying that their jobs is worse. A job is a job, but when you go from game developer to cleaning staff because you're deemed less valuable than others, that is just very disturbing. Again, it's like 1984 or some shit. I feel like this is fiction, what I'm reading. And there is one final bullet point. One former employee, upon announcing on Facebook that they were leaving Konami and had got a new job elsewhere, had their post monitored. Nikkei says remaining Konami staff who liked the post were all reshuffled within the company. So it's not even about whether you are useful or valuable. It's if you go against the almighty Konami or Big Brother, from what I'm, from the vibe that I'm getting here, if you go against Big Brother or Konami, you would be reshuffled within the company. And it's not even like you're publicly shouting out, fuck Konami or anything. It's like you like a Facebook post that Konami doesn't like, you get reshuffled if you are an employee of that company. And that's the last bullet point. So, things over there are a lot worse than I thought. I knew from the GameSpot articles and based on what I've heard from certain people and sources that things were pretty bad over at Konami, that maybe there was some harassment happening and that employees were just being treated like shit. But this is beyond what I expected. This is almost inhuman. This is wrong on so many levels that I really am speechless and still trying to process all this. I really wasn't expecting an article like this out of nowhere. Honestly, this all looks like fiction. Like, it's straight out of some kind of dystopian fiction book or something. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is still really, I don't know, disturbing. It's what is happening? If anything, I'm glad Kojima finally gets to finish his game and move on from this. He doesn't deserve to be treated in such a way, and neither do the employees over at Kojima Productions who have been working so hard to bring the fans Metal Gear Solid 5 and all the previous Metal Gear titles. I don't know when stuff like this started happening, if it's always been like this, or if there was a shift at one point, but, good for Kojima that he is finally gonna be free from these shackles and be able to do his own thing, and really be just free, and he'll be able to do whatever he wants, make whatever game he wants, and just be free. Jesus, that's the only word that I can come up with right now. The amount of restrictions here, the amount of, it truly feels to me like employees are trapped in this prison called Konami. And I don't want to say confirmed one way or another, because this comes from an article that came from another article. And I personally don't know the truths behind all this stuff, but here's the thing. everything's sort of lining up. You know, the more you hear from these anonymous sources, from these articles, from GameSpot, from Nikkei, whatever, you kind of start reading between the lines, and you start seeing that there is definitely something there, especially when it comes to Konami and the way they run the company, the way they've been communicating, and the way they've been treating their employees. And you know what? I don't know if Konami decided to fire Kojima or if Kojima decided to leave, but one way or another, I hope Kojima will find a new home for his game developments that will treat him humanely, and that will allow him to do what he loves in a lovable environment, in an environment where people are excited and love their jobs, because that in the end is what produces the best product. If people are at the top of their game, and in order for that to happen, people need to feel free, they need to feel happy, and not like they're being monitored and watched and berated and humiliated. And if they feel scared and are working in constant fear that they will be reshuffled in the company, that they'll be sent to a job that doesn't match their resume, stuff, you know, game developer to cleaning bathrooms or whatever, then that's just not how a company should run, and that's just not how you get the best out of people. So all I'll say, based on what I'm reading here, is that Kojima, thank you for finishing the game. Only a couple of days left, a few weeks left until your game and the game that Kojima Productions has put into finally comes out. And after that, you can move on, and I hope you will do great things around people who are happy and who are not in a state of fear. So with that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. I just felt like sharing my thoughts on this because it really struck me. It really hit me. And I knew things were bad, but I wasn't expecting to read something like this that I think could come straight out of some kind of dystopian fiction. But anyway, let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the situation. Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.